full show. So because of that, we bring in Jarrett, and I'm going to let Kit fix her camera here a second. See, because the beauty of the green room, there, yeah,
you can get things cleared up.
I could see Kit fixing her camera and changing her location before she moved to where she currently is.
Sorry, guys. Sorry about that.
No need to laugh. It's the beauty of a green room. So Seminole, Gator, and Jarrett. I always forget what direction this is, and so
it's right. I guess, man. It's your left.
Yes, it's that way. So
for sure.
Kit is here. Jarrett's over there. I yield the floor because Kit is, she looks like she's at a very, very tall booth in a restaurant, which I don't think is quite necessarily appropriate. But Jarrett, Kit, first off, Kit, thanks to everybody and you at Celtic for making this happen. Our resident Celtic follower, fan, supporter, and preacher of everything Celtic now carries
Scotland,
on.
Let's be honest here.
Scotland, yes, Scotland. So Jarrett, Kit, yes, go for it. Glad to have you on the show.
Happy to be here.
Thanks, guys. This is Kit Loferski joining us this morning, former Florida Gator, SEC soccer, played in Finland, now with Glasgow Celtic in Scotland in the women's division. Kit, thank you so much for taking the time out this morning. And I wanted to kind of get an idea from you because we've seen the NWSL pick up here in the United States. We've heard about the increase, and I have preached the increase of the game in Scotland on the women's side. But I wanted to get your experience in that jump from playing college to pro when you went to Finland. What was that moment like of, oh, this is going to be different?
Right. I think the moment I stepped foot off the plane was pretty much the indicator of this is going to be pretty different. Coming from Florida, and moving all the way over to Finland, the weather's certainly going to be a little different. So that was certainly an adapting period for me. But honestly, like going into it, coming out of college, I wasn't really sure if I was going to, continue my career or not. It was more of like a last minute decision for me, I guess you could say. I had plans of entering the draft, but kind of like really took a look at, what I wanted out of this experience for myself. And I kind of wanted to, my whole mindset on it is, kick the ball around the world a little bit. I've always wanted to travel and do that sort of thing. So I got in touch with an agent through my old college coach, Becky Burley. And he put me in contact with a team called All Ins United, which just so happened to be also where another former Gator was playing already. So she's one of my best friends. So it just kind of like everything seemed to fall into place for that. My mindset going into it was really, I'm here for the experience and that sort of thing. So getting there, like it was pretty, I don't know. It was, I was going to make do with whatever was right in front of me type of thing. So the league over in Finland was competitive. I had a great group of girls. Where I was like, it was a dream, honestly. The Åland Islands is a cluster of islands in between Finland and Sweden. They're in the Baltic, and the people there were super nice. The football was really good, and I really had an enjoyable experience there. And across the board in terms of the league, like I said, it was very competitive, and I got kind of an understanding, I guess you could say, for professional football and that sort of thing. And by the end of the year, like I performed how I performed, and I was speaking with my agent, and I was like, I mean, maybe this could be something that I could actually really dive into and invest in myself. So from there, we put my name out to other clubs and that sort of thing, and Scottish teams got a hold of my name, and now I'm here, and there's no place I'd rather be. So yeah.
Yeah, and so I know you had a little bit of success in Finland as well, winning a cup and competing and doing individual awards at the club as well. Does that kind of feed into that, oh, I'm going to keep going here when you start hitting that success so quickly?
Yeah, I mean, it played a part for sure, just in terms of like, I guess, exposure for myself as a player. But really at the foundation, like I kind of realized like I don't want to stop playing soccer until I stop loving it. So I still love the game itself, and it's I don't know. That's really all I can say about that. That's my main motivator, is the fact that it's something that I really truly enjoy, love doing. And everything else is just kind of like whatever happens, happens. So, keeping that love for the sport, I think is something that's super important. Um, for myself specifically. And yeah, that's kind of like my main motivator, is just keeping the love for the sport. And it's still just as high as it was when I was a kid. So yeah.
When you ended up making the move to Glasgow, I know it's like middle of the week you get the move, and then immediately after you get thrust into an Old Firm matchup. What was that like, getting involved in one of the world's most notable rivalries?
Right. Surreal, definitely. And like, this is an environment that I've never really been in before. And that's what I wanted. Speaking with my agent at the end of season, in Finland, like I was like, I want to be outside of my comfort zone. Like, I know that there are things that I need to work on as a player, and I'm going to invest in myself and as a player, and for this career to be something that could be, more of a longevity thing. Like, I have to be able to invest in myself, and the only way to do that is to get outside of your. Sorry about that. Really sorry about that. 1 second.
No worries.
Sorry, our media room is being used by the men's team, so
That's fine.
But sorry, I lost my train of thought. Coming out of my comfort zone, the only way that you can grow is by going outside of your comfort zone. And so that was my mindset coming into Scotland, is knowing that I'm going to be a small fish in a big pond. And molding my game and learning as much as I can. And yeah, but the Old Firm game was words don't really even explain it. And the way that it ended as well, was something spectacular to witness. I was lucky enough to even get some sort of playing time. And I'm a big believer in, it doesn't matter how many minutes you play, you can always play a part. So I was lucky enough to log some minutes for that game, and got a front row seat for Caitlin Hayes' goal. And it was like I saw it in slow motion. It was really something spectacular to witness. And then, the fan base here and the support is like, it's nothing like I've ever experienced before. So it's all around the atmosphere, and between, like, with the squad itself too. It's a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun, and it's really hard. But between the squad and the fan base, and I guess the whole history regarding Celtic, and the passion driven behind it, and the story of it all, it makes all the hard stuff worth it. So yeah.
You talk about the fan base and the passion. I wanted to ask you about last year. I mean, this last week, I know Wednesday, it was the match against Hearts. The first time you've played them since you played in Celtic Park. And I wanted to ask about that, and the fact that, at least on our side of the ocean, we saw the pictures and the videos come through when y'all played in Celtic Park about the turnout, and just, I wanted to get your take on the atmosphere that day in the middle of what was an insane title race.
Yeah. I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but really it was a surreal experience. It's like a dream sometimes. That game, it was more than just, getting to play in Celtic Park alone. Like, there are so many players on the squad that have been diehard Celtic fans since, they were kids, since they came out of the womb, type of thing. And, being here and playing for Celtic, for them, is something that's super important to them. It's innate to them. It's almost in their DNA. So getting that opportunity to not only play once in Celtic Park, but also twice, like, for people like for Kelly Clark, and Chloe Craigie and Natalie Ross, like, this is something that, like, this is their team. So getting to play in front of fans in Celtic Park and feeling their support, it's something that was, for me, I could feel it in my bones. So I can only imagine what it must have felt for, the people that that this is their team. So yeah.
Kit Loferski joining us from Soccer Down here this morning from Glasgow Celtics women's team. You also started the season this year on absolute fire. 4 goals against Montrose, scoring in Champions League games. I know Champions League ends in a heartbreaking fashion and with an insane shootout, no less. But I wanted to ask you about your start to the season and what you've done so far this year, because the numbers have been insane. Like what's changed in the offseason, or just getting more comfortable and finding a rhythm with this squad?
I think the latter there, just finding a rhythm with the squad itself, getting more of a feel for people's mannerisms on the field and even off the field, because those are huge parallels. The last season I came in during a pretty turbulent time. It was big games, big fish to fry, that sort of thing. And, it was kind of like getting thrown into the fire, and, you just got to make deal with what you got. So being able to come home, reset, and then get back into preseason and, working repetitions and working tactically based. And then even for myself individually, working on the things that I wanted to mold and fine tune. We were all given the opportunity to just kind of get more of a feel for each other and for ourselves individually, and it's melding really well. There's a certain sense of cohesiveness that I feel is more prevalent this season, and yeah, I think there's really good things to come for this squad. So
yeah. And for those of you that don't know, I think at last check, there have been 15 different goal scorers for Celtic this year. It's been it's been coming from all angles. For you specifically, making this transition, how has it been on a personal level, going from Florida to first Finland and then Scotland, which are 2 very different places than Florida in a lot of different ways? How's it been for you getting settled in, in either Finland or Scotland or both, and being somewhere different and kind of being comfortable?
Mm-hmm. I give a lot of credit of that to the squad. The girls here are fantastic people. They're really welcoming, and they're very friendly. And even though Scotland is cold, they're not so much. So yeah, I give a lot of credit to just them welcoming new people with open arms. And also when it comes to trainings and playings, they hold a really high standard. And it makes you want to play that much harder and that much better. So yeah, that's basically the main foundation of that. So yeah.
Kit Loferski joining us, and we're about to wrap up here with Kit so she can get back to her day. One of the last things I wanted to talk to you about is the growth of the game in Scotland in general, outside of just Celtic, because I know you played against Montrose early this season, Montrose making that jump to the top flight. We know Glasgow City has won titles going back for years now, but I wanted to ask about the growth outside of just, Glasgow City, Rangers, Celtic, and the way the sport seems to be growing and getting more competitive and more notoriety.
Yeah. I think, like you said, there's been more and more investment in the women's game in general. And that brings exposure to the Scottish League as a whole. It'd be unfair of me to say that, everywhere in the league is invested quite like, here it is at Celtic. But across the board in terms of competitiveness, it is a highly competitive league. It's someplace that you can get better. And not even only that, it's also, the environment surrounding football. Like that was the original draw for me, coming to Scotland and the UK in general, is there's like a real appreciation for, the sport itself and the way it's supposed to be played. And surrounding myself with people who have that mindset, that also resonates with me and my mindset as well, is just like the love for the game and wanting to be the best footballers that you can be. And yeah, so in terms of the league, there is growth. It's steady growth, and there's more and more. There are always things to look forward to. Nowhere's going to be perfect, obviously, but across the board, things are on the upward climb here. And with more exposure, more opportunity given to the women's side, more investment, giving fans and people access to be able to watch and to attend. There's positive growth here.
So
go ahead, John.
No, I was going to say,
Right
so I imagine that you have, Kit, unlimited texts, WhatsApp, phone, long distance. What is communication like for you to everybody back here when you're not doing, morning talk shows? I mean, is it unlimited talking text? Is it WhatsApp? How do you stay in touch with everybody back here on this side of the Atlantic?
Right. Yeah. Well, the time difference is only 5 hours for where I'm at, or from Florida in my home. So that's definitely a positive. But yeah, WhatsApp is definitely a big one. FaceTime is huge. And the people that are closest to me back at home understand that the life over here is a little crazy. I also understand that their lives are just as crazy in their own ways. And you just find the time to, find a little bit of balance between work and everything else outside of that. And it's an easy flow. And once you get settled into, the way that life is over here, and, life is constantly changing and that sort of thing, but it just takes a little bit of time to get a little bit of settlement in, and a little bit of roots, and everything there is easy going. So, yeah.
Jarrett, go for it.
Kid, I can't thank you enough for your time this afternoon. Well, afternoon for you. So it's afternoon for you. It's 9 a.m. here. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Again, Kit Loferski from Glasgow Celtic women joining us this morning. We'll let Kit get back to her day. Celtic take on Aberdeen Sunday at 4:10 Scottish time. So that's 11 a.m. Eastern time if you're on the Eastern Seaboard, 10 a.m. God's time zone of the Central. Kit, thank you again. And everybody keep up with this. You can watch the games on Celtic TV, if I'm not mistaken. They'll be playing Aberdeen. And keep an eye on the league, because I cannot stress this enough to people, and I did early this season. The title race literally came down to the last 5 minutes, and it was just basically a 3-team cage match, and it was insane. And I cannot stress enough how few of you paid attention to it and how I'm going to hold you all accountable. So,
yep, that's exactly right. We need people like you, Jarrett. That's exactly right.
So, officially, Kit, we are going to give golden ticket status to you and to the club. So if at any time you want to crash the show, as if you're listening over there, it's like, yeah, we're there in the room, and we're tired of Furuhashi and Alistair Johnson and Joe Hart, celebrating their appearance on the show by throwing glass into a fireplace. Anytime you want to come on and crash, hey, I want to come on and talk. You have golden ticket status. Just knock on the door and we will open the door. And it's fantastic to see that you're doing so well, especially when you can hold up 4 fingers in a social media post and look at it.
That was supposed to be a joke. That was and then it happened. And I looked at our social media director at Colette, and I was like, what? It was completely out of pocket. I can't even explain it. The last goal, I was like, oh my gosh, that graphic is going to end up on the internet. I'm going to look like such a jerk. It was supposed to be a joke. Never in my wildest dreams would I have ever thought that would actually.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. So, Kit, once again, thanks for hanging out with us here on SDH, and we will be catching up with you soon. And Jarrett will be trying to drag all of us into the discussions with the league and making sure that we all follow. Once again, go get some lunch. Thanks for hanging out with us. Have a safe weekend, and good luck against Aberdeen.
Thanks so much for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh, wow. We got the backstory about the four. And it had nothing to do with the four horsemen.
And so, yeah, if y'all missed this, if you didn't see this in the first place, in the season opening game, they played Montrose, who'd made the jump, the SWFL.
Mm-hmm.
And Celtic drops like 9 goals on them in game 1 because Celtic's really good. Again, Celtic lost the title last year. I didn't want to drag up bad memories with Kit, but they lost the title last year in the last 5 minutes in the Rangers Glasgow City game. Crazy. It was one of the best title races on the planet last year.
It was. They
came out and dropped 9 goals on Montrose. Kit scores 4 goals and does like holding up 4 fingers and then. And basically,
the four horsemen
had basically spoken this into existence. Mm-hmm. So that's fun. Mm-hmm. Kit's also welcome to come cut a promo if she wants to on if Florida wins like the SEC.
No. As the ACC person here on this show, the answer to that is no.
Not the ACC, John.